Tommy constantly has reference points. He's actually quite versed. It's funny, he knows film better than most people who make them, you know, in the States and so on. He really knows American cinema better than anybody. And he always has an example. And it's refreshing. You know, it's tough because he has an example, and then he goes, "But I don't really want to do it that way. That's copying." But you know, the tone and the style of how that happened was really cool. And if we could, so no, he comes up with a lot of wishes that, but he backs them up with, you know, tone and spirit. Stephen Scott, our production designer, is just wonderful and great to work with and very talented. So we made a deal up front. It's another example of just getting together and say, how are we going to solve this? So Stephen, as the production designer, is art directing and designing all our set extensions for us. So if we have a 1,000-foot rock cliff and he's building just this, he doesn't just give us just this. He may build just this on the set, but he gives us plans and details and drawings for everything. So he's designing for our visual effects. He's designing for our model builders and our animators. And production designers are actually really good at this. You know, Stephen Scott is actually very good at this, and he loves it, and it's fun. Visceral and messy and painful. I think that's, you know, that's really it. That is the tone of the movie, you know. And the performance and Tommy's, you know, in his script, they have the sense of humor in there. We don't need to add that to the visuals. The sense of humor will live through that. So I think if we really go for just, you know, harsh visceral impact, the sense of humor will come through and counterpoint that, I think, really well. But painful. It's got to hurt. I mean, they kill witches. You can't cheat as much with 3D. You know how in stunts, somebody throws a punch, your camera, and they throw the punch and they miss like that? That works with one camera. You do that in 3D, you clearly missed. It's hard to stack up the lens because you know that fist was here. A lot of the classic film tricks don't work, and you have to rethink them. So it's really, it's really, really a difficult thing. I think style-wise, it's very, very different how you shoot. Not only with a 3D rig that, you know, we're using these, they're big. You know, you've got big cameras, and it looks like you have a Volkswagen on top of an Airy head. It's massive, and so you can imagine how fast you're swinging that thing around in action. Having said that, when you're shooting action, you better not be swinging the 3D camera around with 2-3 second cuts because your eye can't adjust to that. Your eye needs, like, what is it, 2-3 seconds to even settle on that. The script and the story and all of us are demanding so much of Edward, possibly even more than any person in a suit could do. However, we're doing a lot with that. But we did, that was something that there was a lot of thought, and there was a lot of second thought and trying to figure out how to deal with that. You know, emotion, and, you know, it's rubber, you know, and not a lot of us have had a lot of success with you know, things moving, and, you know, need to go in and fix. So I think rather than look at it as this or this, visual effects or makeup effects, or, you know, animatronics or anything like that, we went into it as, okay, we're going to find where that center is. In most wand effects, or just the concept of an effects animation in general, you always have to fight it looking cool or beautiful. It just always goes that way. Even when you try to get nasty, even with fire or, you know, anything like that, it just always looks, wow, that's great looking. And we don't want that. We need something that's just hideous. So the wand effect that comes out that shouldn't be big and over the top and lighting up the room. It should be subtle, but it should also hurt, and it should be hideous and have a nasty quality to it. And that's what we're trying for.